Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I want to show you guys how to make a color wheel pizza. Now, the first thing you want to do is you're going to need some supplies. You're going to need some paper. You need something to draw with, such as a pencil. I'm going to be using a permanent marker so you guys can see it a little bit better, but something you can always do is draw on pencil and then trace it in permanent marker. I like to get something round to trace, such as this little paint palette or whatever you guys have laying around, something like this. And then you need something to color with. I'm going to be using some watercolor paints, just liquid watercolor paints like this, but you can also use things like crayons, markers, colored pencils, whatever you want to use to color with. And since I'm using paint, then I need a water cup and some brushes. And finally, you need a ruler too. So we want to make a color wheel pizza, and we're going to be making a complimentary color wheel pizza. So let's go ahead and get started making the color wheel first. So I'm going to take this paint palette that I have, and I'm going to flip it over. I'm just going to set it right here in the middle of my paper. And what I'm going to do is, with it just like this, I'm going to go and I'm going to trace a circle all the way around it. And just so you guys can see that a little better, I'm going to trace this in permanent marker, and I'm just going to go all the way around it so I have a nice perfect circle. Now, I want to build my color wheel first. So what I'm going to do is I want to find the middle of my color wheel. So I'm going to go and just kind of figure out where the middle is. I'm just going to put a little dot right in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just try your best. Now we want to break this color wheel up into 6 slices since we are making a pizza. So the easiest thing to do is this. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to set my ruler right on the dot just so I can see it. I don't want to cover it up because that's not going to give me an even line. So I'm going to line it up like this and just draw a nice straight line down. So it cuts your pizza right in half. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to need to draw a big X through it. And I want to do the same thing. So I'm going to line this up so I can see my dot. And I'm just going to make a nice big diagonal line this way. And then I'm just going to cut it in half this way. Try to get it as even as possible. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. But just do the best you can. Now, you're going to need a red, yellow, blue, green, orange, and purple marker to help you with labeling where all our colors are going to go. So I'm going to take a red marker first, and I'm just going to make a dot on one of these triangles, just a small little dot. Then I'm going to take my orange marker. I'm going to put a dot in the next slice. Then I'm going to use my yellow marker in the next one. Then I'm going to use green. Then blue. And finally, purple. So I have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple in there. And that just kind of helps me figure out where my colors are going to go. So before we do any decorating or coloring, I should say, we want to add some of our details on here. So we want to make this look like a pizza. So we have our nice circle. So what I'm going to do is I want to make some crust right around here. Now to make the crust, it's really easy. All I'm going to do is just kind of make a squiggly line right around here. So I'm just going to draw this kind of wavy squiggly line all the way across here and meet right back there. So it kind of looks like a pizza. And then you want to go and draw your little lines all the way to the crust, just because we want to have each slice kind of broken up. So it's starting to look like a pizza, but we want to add just a little bit more details on here. So you want to go in here and draw some different toppings on here. Now, when you draw the toppings, you want to make sure that they are nice and big. So you could just keep it simple and do like one type of topping. You could do a bunch of different types, whatever. I usually like to just draw like 3 big ones in here, just so I can really tell where my pizza is. And I always kind of add a few extra little details in here. So I'm going to add some pepperoni here. And you can add whatever you want to, whatever you like on your pizza. So I'm going to go and just add a couple little different details into all of my slices. Okay, so I got some different little toppings on my pizza. And like I said, you could have just done the same topping on each one, but here are just some different ones. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to start coloring these. Now, you can use whatever you want to color. So you can use paint, you can use colored pencils, markers, crayons, whatever you want. I'm going to use paint just because it gives a nice bright color. And I know not everyone has this stuff at home, so just use whatever you have. Now, I'm going to be using this liquid watercolor paint. This stuff works really good. You just want to get some water on your brush, a little bit of paint, then just do a quick dip in the water and just kind of wipe off the extra. Now, I want to paint red right into this slice of pizza, but I'm not going to paint the whole slice. I'm just going to paint the cheese part. You want to use the tip of your brush when you paint. And you just want to go really slow, take your time, and paint right around all of your toppings. Now, you don't want to push your brush down really hard because you're going to give it a bad hair day. So you just want to be real gentle to it, take your time, and just kind of go right around everything. Okay, so once you're done with that, then I want to move on to another primary color. So we have our 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. So I want to move on to my next one. So I want to make sure that I wash off my brush, clean off all that extra paint that I have on there. And then I want to start with my yellow. So I'm going to get some yellow paint. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to paint the cheese part. I'm not going to paint the crust, and I'm not going to paint the toppings on here. So you just want to fill in all these little details. And then once you're done with this, you want to do the same thing on the blue. Okay, so there we go. There are our 3 primary colors. We have red, yellow, and blue. So these are the 3 colors that make up all the other colors. And you can't make these 3 colors, so they're just made for us. An easy way to remember this is think about Superman. If you think about his logo, he has red, yellow, and blue on there. So Superman just kind of helps me remember the primary colors. Now, the next thing I want to do is I have to make my secondary colors. And my secondary colors are going to be green, orange, and purple. So an easy way to remember this is I always think of the Hulk smashing a pumpkin because he's green, he's got purple shorts, and there's an orange pumpkin that he can smash. Now, you can always just color in these colors, or you can try making them. Now, to make them, it's really easy. So if I want to make an orange, I'm going to take some yellow, and I'm going to put some yellow in one of these trays. I'm just going to throw it right in here. Then I'm going to wash off my brush. I'm going to get just a tiny bit of red and mix up some of the red in there. And that's going to give me a nice orange color. Then I'm just going to come in here and paint my orange. Then you want to make your green. Now, a color wheel is nice because the color wheel will tell you what 2 colors to mix. So here's my green, and the 2 colors that are next to it are yellow and blue. So that tells me if I mix yellow and blue, I'm going to get green. So you just do the same thing over here. Take some blue, put it in here, wash your brush, and then you want to get some yellow, and you want to mix up some yellow in there. Now the yellow is a lot lighter than the blue, so you're going to need a lot more yellow than you will blue. And the more yellow you add, the lighter your green's going to get. So I just want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to get some more green or more yellow, mix it up, and then that is a pretty good shade of green. Now to find purple, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at the two colors that are next to my purple spot. So it's blue and red. So I'm going to take some red, put it in here, get a little bit more. Then I want just a little bit of blue because it's really dark, and I'm going to mix it up. And it will make a purple. Sometimes the purple is a little bit darker and a little bit off, but it'll definitely work. So then you want to go in and you want to do the same thing. Just fill in your secondary colors right in here. Okay, once you have your color wheel pizza all painted up, it's going to look like this. You'll have your cheese colored, so I've got my red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple or violet on there. And then I have white toppings and a white crust. So what we want to do is we want to make this a complementary color pizza. So complementary colors, these are colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So red and green are complementary colors. I like to think of Christmas. Blue and orange are complementary. I like to think of the Chicago Bears. And yellow and purple are complementary. I like to think of the Lakers. Now, these colors, they're called complementary because when you put them next to each other, they look really nice. But when you mix them together, they create kind of like a booger brown color. So we want to make a complementary color pizza color wheel. So what I want to do is, on whatever pizza slice I have, so we'll start with my red, I want to use the color that is the complementary color of it for the toppings and the crust. So I have red right here, right across from it is green. So I'm going to take my green and I'm going to paint all of my toppings and my crust green. Now, this is good practice if you're painting to make sure you really stay in the lines, because if you don't, you're going to get that brown color, that kind of boogery brown. And it doesn't really make a super nice kind of like chocolate brown color. It really makes just like a kind of grayish brown. So you want to really just stay in the lines when you color. So just like that. So now this slice is done. I've got my complementary colors of red and green. And then I'll do the same thing on the opposite side. I'll get some red paint. And I will paint the toppings over here. I'll paint these little sausages red. And then once I'm done with that, then I'm going to paint the crust of my pizza red too. And this will definitely turn out really cool, and it's going to be very colorful. So you're going to want to do this with all of your pizza slices and toppings. So if you get confused, just always look right across. So this yellow slice of pizza is going to have purple toppings and a purple crust. This purple slice will have yellow toppings and a yellow crust. The orange will have blue toppings and a blue crust, and the blue will have orange toppings and an orange crust. And there you go. There is your complementary color wheel pizza. This is a really good tool to help you guys figure out all your colors, because all you have to do is look at the cheese to figure out what two colors are going to make which ones. And then you can look at the crust and toppings to tell you guys what that complementary color is of each color. And if you don't have something like this, then always remember that your complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel, and they look nice next to each other, but when mixed together, they make that booger brown color. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and if you guys have any questions, please let me know.